here's the big question. You're interested in value investing and valuing and evaluating businesses on a deep level, but you don't know how, even after researching for hours, probably dozens of hours, hundreds of hours on the internet, and because nobody else shows you how to do it. This podcast has all those answers and much more about value investing in finance. My name is Jason Rivera. Welcome to Value Investing in Your Car.
Hey, Jason here. In this episode of Value Investing in Your Car, I'm going to do a book review of this book, Smarter, Faster, Better, The Transformative Power of Real Productivity by Charles Duhigg, who is also author of one of my favorite books of all time, The Power of Habit. Fantastic. This is a fantastic book as well, by Charles Duhigg. But before we get into the actual book review, I want to remind you, you can now get listen to the series as a podcast on all major platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Go, Spotify, Anchor. Pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can now listen to this entire series as a podcast for free. So make sure to listen to our other videos and this entire series as a podcast. We really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get to the review of Smarter, Faster, Better. If you follow this blog for any amount of time, you know one of my favorite books of all time is The Power of Habit. And if you haven't seen me talk about The Power of Habit, the kind of overarching goal, I guess, of the book, or theme of the book, is how to break habits, what goes into creating habits, what goes into starting or getting rid of bad habits, what goes into getting rid of bad habits and turning them into good habits, all those kind of things. And as deep value investors, you have to have very good habits, because a lot of time you will not have the motivation or the want to do the research on companies. You won't want to look through financial statements. You won't want to do anything related to any kind of work related stuff on occasion. But if you have the habits built in, you literally, at least I do, I work every single day, no matter I'm sick, whatever. And if I don't, I literally legitimately feel guilty and get anxious and feel like I should be working. So that was Charles Duhigg's first book. Again, one of my favorite books of all time. This is about how this book, Smarter, Faster, Better, is about how to become more productive and quote unquote be real. What is it? The transformative power of real productivity. Meaning really getting stuff done, not just being productive in terms of getting stuff done, but getting stuff done in terms of what you actually need to be getting done to get closer towards your goals. There's chapters in here on how to learn better, how to be more productive, how to focus better, how to be a better leader. What else? Setting goals, making decisions, having motivation, absorbing data, how to innovate better, mental models, all these kind of things. Fantastic book. Highly recommend it. The one chapter on mental models in this book is one of the best single individual chapters of any book I've ever read. And I read and learn constantly. So I hope that's saying a lot, because it, again, the chapter on mental models was akin for me, because I love mental models and I love thinking about different things in different ways and trying to meld concepts from different arenas into my thought processes. So I'm probably a little bit biased here, because I just love the concept of mental models and learning about them and incorporating them and all these kind of things. But the chapter on mental models was so fantastic. I was literally like reading a fiction book for me, a great fiction book for me, where I literally couldn't stop turning the pages. It was just phenomenal. Again, single chapter, one of the best single chapters in any book I've ever read. And this is a fantastic book. I don't know if I would necessarily put it on the level with Power of Habit yet, because I just finished reading it. but possibly over time, it will definitely be one of my favorite books of all time. I already know I'm going to reread it at some point. That's why you still see the bookmark in there. And it actually, at the end of the book, a reader's guide to using these ideas, he actually goes through his step-by-step process on how he incorporates these ideas into his day-to-day life, on how to be more productive. I've actually set that bookmark, left my bookmark in there to incorporate some of these things and note-taking and some of the other stuff he talks about. Thinking probabilistically, all that kind of stuff into my own day-to-day thinking. I do it now, but it's not very regimented. It's not very systematized, and he talks about how to systematize it, at least in his opinion. The structure of the book is a little bit, not weird, but different in terms of most of these kind of books on productivity and habits and mindset are just kind of pretty straightforward. They talk about the science and all that kind of stuff. So the structure took a little bit getting used to in this book, because he focuses in each chapter on 2 or 3 different stories illustrating the point of these 8 chapters, where he focuses on, again, things like mental models, focus, productivity, learning. In each chapter, he has 2 or 3 different storylines from individual people or individual companies. I think they're all individual people. Focusing on that illustrate these points, either negatively or positively. So the structure is a little bit different, but once you get used to that, it's, again, fantastic book. I cannot recommend it enough. Again, I already know I'm going to read it again. I already have my bookmark left in there to incorporate some of this stuff into my day-to-day life, my day-to-day workflow, so I can become more productive, learn faster, learn better, think better, all these kind of things. To help me get closer to my goals. I definitely think it can help you get closer to your goals, just like Power of Habit, his book Power of Habit. This will definitely be on my must-read list on the recommended resources page. And again, I can't say enough highly enough about this book. Recommend it to pretty much, I can't think of somebody I wouldn't recommend this book to be honest with you. Because if you can become productive in a real fashion that helps you get closer towards your goals and dreams and aspirations, whatever you want to call them, in real world, using real world examples from real people, and then kind of boiling that down to a, not necessarily a science, but a way you can systematize things and implement things in a real world fashion in your own life. Again, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't benefit from a book like this. Absolutely fantastic. And again, I can't necessarily put it on some of my favorite book lists of all time, because some of those books I've read multiple times now, and I've read them years ago. But at this point, it probably will end up on one of my favorite, my top 10 book list of all time, just because of how powerful I think the lessons in this book will become. Over time, the more I read the book, the more I implement things in real world settings in my own business, my own life, stuff like that. So, if you've read this book, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you haven't read this book, definitely read his Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit. Also, definitely read, again, Smarter, Faster, Better, The Transformative Power of Real Productivity, Charles Duhigg's second book. Both fantastic on how to build proper mindsets, build proper habits, learn faster, learn better, become smarter, become productive in a real world sense. Cannot recommend either of these books enough. If you haven't read this book, again, highly recommend it. If you have read the book, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. What you think of it below. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, love, share, and subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time I release a new video. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure to like, love, share, all that kind of stuff as well. Comment anywhere on the blog, on the podcast, on YouTube, and I answer all the comments personally. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything about this entire topic of mental models, focus, productivity, learning better, or being better, or thinking better, all this kind of stuff. Love to hear your comments, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. Until next time, thanks for listening. Oh, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time we release a new video, and release new videos every day. We just passed, I believe this is video 417, 418, somewhere around there. So we're releasing new videos all the time. Excuse me. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.